It's in it. Everything is in it. Everything is in it. Now it says in Scripture, Joseph was in prison. And he was pretty much forgotten. They forgot about Joseph. You know, they thought he was dead. His father thought he was dead. His brothers forgot him, thought he probably died, disappeared. Stranger, he's judged, he's put in prison. Then he's forgotten by the other prisoners. He's forgotten by everybody. He must have been real lonely. All alone, it must have looked like God forgot. But you know what? He wasn't forgotten because he's recorded in Scripture. When he was all alone and forgotten, he was in Scripture. You can be in a prison cell, but you know, if you're a biblical character, you're never forgotten. You are in the sense. If you know, it may seem like God's far away, but you know, no matter what people see or don't see, you are in God's book. You are just as much in God's book when in a prison cell as you are on the stage. No matter what, in the good times, bad times, these people went through good times and bad times, but they were in God's book. And so no matter what's happening, you know, all the injustice that's going on, but it's still God's book, and Joseph is holding on to that. Lord, you're going to work this out. You're going to work this for good because it's your book, and your story is good. Even if I have to wait till the end to see that, it's good. He told the brothers, you meant it for evil, but God was working in his book for good. He knew he was in God's book in one way or another. Maybe he didn't know it was going to be a Broadway play and all that, but he knew he was in God's book. If you're a biblical character, no matter what it is, no matter what you're going through, there are verses that have to do with you. You know, the Bible has to do with you. There's no accident. God knew you when you were nothing, and he knew his word. And I believe, now this is going to sound, but I've learned more and more as I watch the awesome power of God, that he actually has verses in there that he knew you were going to read at that moment, and it was there for you. And that was there for other people too. It's that he knew every single person who was ever going to look at every moment. And so it's going to sound strange to say that he can actually have words written for you. But it was for everybody who would read it, but it's also he also personally for you there. No matter where you go, no matter what it is. Jeremiah could weep, but his tears were in Scripture. David could be discouraged, but his discouragement's in Scripture, and it brings life to us when you read it. Mary Magdalene could have felt the deep, black despair of her Lord dying and staying by that tomb, but that despair was in Scripture. And so that despair even brings life. We shared out Richard Wurmbrand when he's in prison, and they're brainwashing them, and they're saying, God is dead, God is dead, God is dead in the Iranian communist prisons. And finally he said, all right, Lord, I believe Christianity's dead, that nobody believes anymore. But then he saw Mary at the tomb weeping from the Scripture. And he said, well, you know what, Lord, if it's all dead, I'll wait by the tomb until it rises again. It's going to be all right because you're a biblical character. God works it all for good, no matter what you're going through. When the Israelites were in Sinai, what did they have at night? Did they have movie night? Did they watch the Ten Commandments? Did they watch Yul Brynner and all that? They didn't have any biblical movies. How about the shepherds? What did they do on that first? Did they sing Christmas carols? No. There was no Christmas carols because they had nothing. They had no movies. I'm not preaching against that, but what I'm saying is that they had no movies. They had no Christmas carols. What did the disciples do that Resurrection Sunday? Did they put on Easter hats and walk around and sing? No. Did they hunt for Easter eggs? No. Did they stay in the upper room and watch the greatest story ever told? No, it didn't exist. So what does it mean? This is profound. The Israelites did not watch the Ten Commandments because they lived it. They didn't have to watch it because it was right there. The shepherds did not put on a Christmas play because they were the Christmas play. The disciples did not commemorate the resurrection because this was the resurrection. You see, for people in Scripture, biblical characters, Scripture is not then, it's now. Not saying that God hasn't worked his miracles throughout and that's all, yes, but he is now. For people in Scripture, they weren't saying, all the stuff was way back then. No. They were saying, yes, so it's then and it's now. God is the same. The God of the Bible is the God of now. That means the God of the Bible is the God of us. We are of the Bible. Of course, you see, people who are dead in their walk are saying, when I first came to the Lord, it was all this, but I haven't seen anything for years, Or a denomination that says, look what used to be. Or a denomination that all they say, way back there, the Bible, when God did all these things, but the congregation that's alive is saying, yes, God did, and God is, and God will do. One of the secrets, when I was growing up in Hebrew school, they used to show us film strips about the prophets and the Spirit, and I mean the prophets prophesying, and the thing that's one of the reasons why I became an atheist after watching that. I said, so where's this God? I don't see that God in the synagogue. In the synagogue, it's all, it's all by rote, the prayers, all that, and there's nothing about God really being there. It's all about it's an echo of an echo of an echo of an echo. And so I said, where's God? Why isn't the rabbi saying God spoke to me last night? Why isn't the rabbi saying that God moved on me and is moving, has a will? Why? And that was one of the major things that said that I don't see any evidence of that. And that's one of the signs of deadness. One of the secrets of being a biblical character is you don't speak about Bible times long ago. Yes, that's part of it, but Bible times are now. It's then and now. We are of the same spirit as them. We are the same. They are our elders, and these are the recording sacred scriptures of God, but the sacred power of God is now as well. We are living. When is the resurrection? It was 2,000 years ago. It is now. It is then. It is now. When did the Messiah rise? 2,000 years ago. But also the power is right now, like it happened now. When is Bethlehem? Yes, it's 2,000 years ago, but Bethlehem is now. The new birth is now. The power of this is now. The Sunday is now. The empty tomb is now. When is the day of Pentecost?